And we are back. Welcome to my second upload of the day, or should I say my second recording. Both videos posted at the same time. This is my video for the Asian Cup and African Cup of Nations for today. If you've come here from my FA Cup video, a very welcome to you to this series. And if you haven't watched today's FA Cup video, once you've finished this one, make sure to head over to my predictions for all of today's FA Cup replays. But like I say, we are here to talk about the Asian Cup and the African Cup of Nations once again, after another day of thrills and spills in both competitions, especially in the African Cup of Nations once again, where we saw red cards and some more big upsets. But that's exactly what we want to see from these international competitions, and that's exactly why they are so hard to predict. We've got some more big games for you today, so if you haven't done so already, please do consider dropping a like on this video and subscribing to the channel if you're new around here, because we're doing predictions for these two competitions every single day. Let's get into everything that I think is going to happen in these two competitions today. And we start off in the Asian Cup as always, and we're starting with Thailand taking on Kyrgyzstan. Now, again, both of these sides, very, very tough to call this one. Both sides on a really good run of form. Kyrgyzstan have actually had some really good results over the last few months. If you actually look at their form against the teams they've played against, Thailand are actually ranked the higher side in terms of the rankings. But again, if you look at that form guide, everything would suggest that Kyrgyzstan could pull off a result here. I'm going to go for 2-1 to Thailand, though. I just think they've got that little bit more. If you look at their squad, there may be one or two players that you do recognise. So I just think that's going to give it that little bit of extra quality, might just edge it in their favour. But watch this space. I think this is a really tough one to call in terms of the Asian Cup. There's not been many tough ones in the Asian Cup so far. I think this one could be one of them. The other game, however, between Saudi Arabia and Oman, realistically, Saudi Arabia should really comfortably win this group. They're the strongest side in this group, I think, by a reasonable way. However, that said, these two sides did meet in the Gulf Cup. Not golf, but, in the Gulf Cup this time last year. I think it was something like, when I looked at the form guide, it was like the 12th of January. So pretty much exactly a year ago. And Oman won 2-1. So don't write Oman off too easily in this one. I am, because I just think Saudi Arabia are far too strong. They've been building a lot. Their players have shown signs of improvement now that they've been surrounded by a little bit more quality with the amount of top-level players heading over to their league. And I think it is starting to show on the players that play for their actual national team. I'm going to go for 3-1 to Saudi Arabia. I can't see them going too deep into the tournament as we compare them to the likes of like Japan and Korea and whatnot, but I expect them to win this group, and I expect them to start off with a strong win over Oman today. As always, we then switch our attentions from the Asian Cup in Qatar over to the African Cup of Nations in the Ivory Coast, and we start things off today with Burkina Faso taking on Mauritania. And look, I think everyone would expect Burkina Faso to win this one. Again, when you look at the form guides, Mauritania have produced some decent results recently, but we can all name a couple of Burkina Faso players. I say we all can. Anyone that plays Ultimate Team on EAFC or former FIFAs will know one or two Burkina Faso players. Most notably, of course, Tapsoba from Bayer Leverkusen. I think everyone would expect Burkina Faso to win this one. There have been a lot of upsets so far. I don't see there being one in this one, and I'm going to go for 2-0 to Burkina Faso in this opening game of today. Next up, it is Tunisia taking on Namibia, and I didn't realise this until I checked, obviously, the form before these put this prediction together. Tunisia are in the top 30 in the world rankings, which is an incredible achievement for them. I'm assuming it's due to the fact that obviously they got themselves to the World Cup. They performed well in the African Cup of Nations, and they've probably played a fair few easy teams in friendlies along the way as well. The sort of thing that got Switzerland into the top 10 of the world rankings a few years ago. So I wouldn't take that as a massive indicator that they're going to win this game. Not to mention the fact that Namibia do have some fairly decent players and some fairly decent form themselves. However, I would expect Tunisia to come out on top. They do have a few quality players, some from the Premier League, some from Ligue 1. And I'm going to go for a 3-1 win to Tunisia in this one. I don't think too many would be surprised at that. And then finally, we have Mali taking on South Africa. And I think if you're someone that's not really knowledgeable about African football, you'd probably just sort of think that, well, South Africa had their moment at the World Cup a few years ago, and they're probably the stronger side, and would just expect them to beat Mali. However, form guide, world rankings, even head-to-head over the last few years, all say that Mali should win this game. And actually, if you do look at the two squads respectively, the players that I do recognise across the two squads, I think Mali are actually the stronger team as well. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Mali over South Africa today. And once again, I've gone for all 5 teams that are home drawn, even though it's completely neutral for all the sides. How bizarre is that? It's just the way the fixtures have come out. It's no bias at all. But yeah, that is what I'm going to go for today. No draws across the Asian Cup or the African Cup of Nations for me today. Let me know all of your thoughts down in the comment section below. Drop a like if you haven't done so already. And I will see you same time again tomorrow. Unless, of course, you are heading over to that FA Cup replays video. Thank you very much for watching.